DiRT 3. Join me as I revisit one of my favorite childhood games. Now, at the time, I hadn't played DiRT 2. DiRT 3 was just a game and a disc sitting in my living room waiting to be played. I remember opening up the disc case for the first time, popping in the game, and pressing play. As it opened to this. Little did I know, that was going to be one of the most nostalgic sounds I've ever heard. I know at the time I didn't appreciate it, but this was, in my opinion, one of the best racing games ever released. I selected career mode and it all came flooding back. How everything was laid out, how unique it was, the car driving across the menu, the triangles to select which race you were going to do. It was all beautiful. I remember playing those really hard at the time drift challenges and playing the courses that were my favorite, the snow ones, the X Games ones, and just remembering how hard I tried to win every time. DiRT 3 was the game that got many people into rally racing games in the first place. I mean, this was after Colin McRae had died, and Codemasters took his name off of the title and released their first game without it. I mean, they gained a huge player base beforehand, and DiRT 3 was a lot of people's entry into the rally racing scene. After having the honor of playing DiRT 2 and coming back to this one, I realized how much it stands out and how much it built on what already came before it, pushing things further and adding new features that completely reshaped the experience. I mean, it added weather, terrain variety, snow for the first time in the series, and DiRT 3 just felt much more alive. Unlike DiRT 2, in DiRT 3, you're racing down tracks that had different weather conditions. They brought a new sense of uniqueness to the series. And the game, having shifted from a little bit more simulation to arcade, made the game a lot more fun for a bigger audience than DiRT 2. In 2011, racing games were everywhere. Need for Speed was still a yearly blockbuster, while Forza Motorsport and Gran Turismo were duking it out in the realms of realism. Meanwhile, Codemasters, the studio behind the DiRT series, was quietly crafting something special. Then came DiRT 3. A game that didn't just want to capture the thrill of racing rally, it wanted to make you feel like a legend behind the wheel. It was fast, stylish, and deeply satisfying. But more than that, DiRT 3 represented a high point and maybe the beginning of an end for a certain kind of racing game. The first thing that hits you about DiRT 3 isn't even the cars. It's the style. The clean menus, the bold typography, the neon lines cutting through cold whites and grays. It all felt premium. DiRT 3 oozed presentation. It wasn't trying to imitate the garage aesthetic of Gran Turismo or the street culture flashiness of Need for Speed. This was a modern motorsport game, reimagined. Each was staged as a form of global racing festival, and a soundtrack that combined electronica with cinematic flair. Even the loading screens felt alive, like the game was aware of its own rhythm. Codemasters didn't just build a racing game, they built an experience. But DiRT 3 wasn't just looking good, it felt good. Every slide, every drift, every time you caught your car in the snow by pure instinct. Dirt 3 rewarded precision and risk in equal measure. Codemasters refined their ego engine to near perfection. It wasn't just pure simulation, but it wasn't just arcade either. You could feel the surface, the ice of Finland, the gravel of Kenya, and the slick tarmac of Monaco. And then there was Jinkiana, a new mode that was inspired by Ken Block's viral driving videos. It was all about showmanship, spinning donuts, jumping obstacles, chaining stunts with style. It was that moment where the game lets loose and says, "Go on, have fun." It was a creative, skill-based, and surprisingly addictive. And in retrospect, it might have been too ahead of its time. After Dirt 3, something changed. The series took a sharp turn, literally and figuratively, toward realism. Dirt Rally was great in its own way, but it jettisoned the accessible, celebratory tone that Dirt 3 had. Meanwhile, the rest of the racing genre began chasing a different dream. Always online systems, open worlds, and live services. Somewhere along the way, we lost the middle ground, the sweet spot that Dirt 3 occupied. A game that respected skill and realism, but never forgot that racing games are supposed to be fun. Dirt 3 didn't need a map full of markers or battle passes to keep you playing. Rather, it gave you pure racing joy. Clean, beautiful, and deeply satisfying. Looking back, Dirt 3 feels like a love letter to rally racing, showmanship, and most of all, creativity that defined its identity. It was a question of finding that balance between seriousness and play. In a world of ever-growing racing, online, grind fests, Dirt 3 stands as a reminder of what made racing games magical. That feeling of mastery, the sound of gravel under the tires, the joy of nailing a perfect drift through that snowy corner. Dirt 3 wasn't just another racing game. It was the heartbeat of an era, one that we may never get back.